Man, this new Karn Cloud deck is sweet. I just wish I had more Karns to test with. I like... What's happening? What is that? Alright, next up is Karn Cloud. Alrighty, everybody. This will be the first kind of naive attempt at Karn Cloud. Big thanks to Bone Daddy for supplying me with the Karn the Great Creators I was missing. Once again, great supporter of the channel. So without further ado, the idea behind this deck is we're going to play Everflowing Chalice or Astral Cornucopia, and we're going to use Surge Node and Core Tapper as a way to cheat on mana and get a bunch of early mana. I know you're like, but Kano, why not play Tron lands? Well, we need the black mana for our hefty triple black finisher called Death Cloud. For those of you who don't know what Death Cloud is, if you cast it for 7, nobody has any permanents or cards in hand, usually. But artifacts avoid Death Cloud. So the idea is we ramp, we maybe stick a Karn, we cast a Death Cloud, and then we wish for things out of the sideboard to just completely end the game. Alternatively, we have a Metalwork Colossus for our backup win condition, because it can recur itself from the grave. And beyond that, we're just artifact mana and hand hate. So I'm kind of interested to see how this turns out. Yeah, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into a league. Basically just a wish board out of the side. Nothing too special there. Alright, so we're against Unis. Anyway. You know, no charge counters, but I think this hand is okay. I'm gonna keep. Opponent mulligans to 6. Okay. Opponent starts by playing a Blood Crypt untapped. And that's it. So we start Swamp. Inquisition our opponent. We'd really like to draw an untapped land next turn. Okay, opponent haggles. So they're probably Dredge. We do have Ensnaring Bridges in the deck. Okay, kind of a weak Dredge from our opponent. We are going to take Shriekhorn from them. Okay, pass the turn. If we draw an untapped land next turn, we can play Astral Cornucopia X0, play Core Tapper, put 2 counters on Astral Cornucopia, then play Everflowing Chalice on 1, and then we have triple black for Big Death Cloud. That's kind of bad because our opponent is playing Dredge and they want all of their permanents in the grave. But we will be able to turn off like their Loam and things like that for the foreseeable future. Okay, we draw Thoughtseize. So play Barrenmoor. What did our opponent have in hand? They have 1 unknown, Golgari Thug, and Loam. We could Thoughtseize, but if the last card's a Dredger 2, we speed them up. So I think the correct choice here is to not cast a Thoughtseize. Okay, opponent plays Arid Mesa, cracks Arid Mesa. Gets a Stomping Ground. And they're going to cast Life from the Loam. So they pick up Arid Mesa, Bloodstained Mire, and Mountain. Okay, we draw Ensnaring Bridge, which is very good. So Astral Cornucopia, X0. Play Core Tapper. Sack Core Tapper, put 2 counters on Astral Cornucopia. Add black mana. Kick Everflowing Chalice once, and pass the turn. We could fire off a little Death Cloud. I say little, but it would only be X2. I think the plan is we're going to Thoughtseize our opponent and play out an Ensnaring Bridge. And unless they have a main deck Ancient Grudge, I don't think they have an answer for that. I actually think they scoop to that card. Unless they can somehow get enough cards in hand to Conflagrate us to death. Which they could do through multiple Loam casts and If only if they have more than one conflagrate, and only if we do not Death Cloud immensely before that. Okay, so opponent's going to get back Bloodghast, which triggers Prized Amalgam. I don't even care what's in their hand anymore right now. Okay. Opponent cracks Arid Mesa, gets a mountain, loams, picking up some lands, conflagrates us for 6, reanimates Prized Amalgam. We draw Inquisition. So play Ensnaring Bridge, Inquisition ourself, discard Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize our opponent. And now we are all set up. We have enough mana to cast anything we draw. Should be good from here. At least for the first game. Our opponent will certainly bring in Nature's Claims or Ancient Grudges of some variety. Okay, so opponent dredges a loam. They loam back Mire, and Mountain. Play a Mire, crack a Mire, get a Stomping Ground, untapped. Play Merchant of the Veil out of the exile zone. Almost said sideboard, but that's not what I wanted. Okay, Energy Chamber is very good. So play an Energy Chamber, pass the turn. We can get hit for 1 by Narcomoeba. And Energy Chamber effectively is going to act as a rampant growth every single turn, which is pretty sweet. Okay. Opponent dredges another Narcomoeba. Oh, the problem is, I guess they have Dakmor Salvage in their deck. So while we can get rid of all the lands, they're going to have something left. Okay. Opponent's going to activate Merchant. Looks like they discard and drew Golgari Thug. So big draw here would be Karn. We're looking for Karn. Opponent's going to get back some Bloodghasts. Gonna discard and draw again. So they're gonna get a Creeping Chill and a Narcomoeba. Well, I guess they could Creeping Chill us to death. That is the first Creeping Chill we've seen. Okay, we untap. We put a counter on Astral Cornucopia. Draw. Surge Node. Play Surge Node. Surge up Astral Cornucopia. And pass. We're going to get hit with 3 Narcomoebas. Oh, shoot. You know what? I just realized the Death Cloud makes us lose life, too. I may have become an error. Yes. Those are words. Okay, opponent gets another Narcomoeba and Creeping Chill, and I think that kills us, actually, because I don't think we can Death Cloud for enough. And it's not like we have a, what do you call it? Rest in Peace effect or a Leyline of the Void. Probably should put Leyline of the Void in the sideboard for this. Depending on the dredge meta share. I'm not actually sure what that is. But then again, I think no one is because Companion just got nerfed. Okay, opponent plays an Ox of Agonis. Discards, dredges a whole lot. Yeah, we should have clouded sooner. I think we'd still die, but it'd be a lot harder for our opponent to do a lot of things. Yep, there's the Creeping Chill, and there are 3 Narcomoebas capable of attacking, so we're going to go ahead and scoop it up. But at least you got to kind of see what we're going for during that game. So, into the main, we have Tormod's Crypt, Nile Spellbomb, and probably the 3rd Ensnaring Bridge. I don't think it's worth leaving these to wish for. I think it's actually worth just bringing them in. We're going to go down a Thoughtseize and 2 Raven's Crimes for those 3 pieces of hate for our opponent's deck. And we're going to leave the rest in the sideboard and fire it up. Alright, I'd love to play first. Yeah, I think this hand will work. We'll keep. It's possible that we should have Mind Stones instead of some of our Signets, but I really like the fact that the Signets produce black mana. So, there's also the option for us to be able to splash if we're playing Signets as well, though I'm not currently taking advantage of that. Okay, so we're going to start Swamp, Inquisition our opponent. They have a Merchant of the Veil, Cathartic Reunion, and Golgari Thug. Well, we'll take the Merchant, slow him down. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an Arid Mesa and passes. We draw Tormod's Crypt. Tormod's Crypt is excellent. So play Karn's Bastion. Play Demir's Signet. And cast a Tormod's Crypt. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent cracks Arid Mesa. Stomping Ground tapped. They untap. Play a Steam Vents untapped. And Cathartic Reunion? Discarding Stinkweed Imp and Creeping Chill. We're going to let him get a big dredge. They don't dredge, they just draw. Interesting. Untap, we draw Snow-Covered Swamp. Play the Swamp. Play Karn. We're going to go ahead and wish for probably Liquid Metal Coating, actually, I think is the best bet here. Pass the turn. Okay, so our opponent dredges Stinkweed Imp. They Cathartic Reunion again. They dredge Shenanigans. And an Archamoeba. So that's where we Tormod's Crypt. So they do not get their Narcomoeba. They play a Wooded Foothills. And pass the turn. We untap. We draw Death Cloud. We cannot currently Death Cloud for very much. So we are going to kick this twice. Oops. Have to do it the right way. Play Liquid Metal Coating. We'll turn Stomping Ground into an artifact. And uptick on Stomping Ground. Okay. So our opponent likely fetches and then Shenanigans, but then we're going to fire off a Death Cloud and wish... Oh no, we can't actually wish for... Because it's not in exile. Outside the game or in exile, yeah. And unfortunately, our Tormod's Crypt... That probably means our Gravehate of choice should be Relic of Progenitus for a situation like this, where we fired it off and we want it again. So I think that's an adjustment we need to make. Although, it's a lot worse in some respects, because our Tormod's Crypt lets us dump our hand for Ensnaring Bridge, so I guess it's kind of a trade-off. Another Death Cloud. Okay, so we have 3 black mana. So we can Death Cloud for 3? That seems good. First, let's wish. Oh, shoot. I should not have wished first. That was a mistake. Because now whatever I wish for is just going in the grave. Kano's getting greedy and not thinking through his plays. Okay, well, don't do that. That's a very big mistake. So what we're going to get... We could wait one more turn, play a big Everflowing Chalice, but that allows our opponent to potentially get something on board. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. So we could play an Everflowing Chalice on 3 and play a 3-drop. So we could play Trinisphere and then totally take our opponent out of the game forever. I kind of like that. We'll wish for Trinisphere. Cast with Multi-Kicker, kick 3 times. Play Trinisphere. Pass the turn. So opponent dredges a Narcomoeba, that's fine. They get back their shenanigans. So they can either shenanigans Everflowing Chalice or shenanigans Trinisphere. They hit the Everflowing Chalice. They think the big mana is big scary. I'm okay with that. So we draw a swamp, play a swamp, and then let's go ahead and we'll just fire off our big Death Cloud. Okay, so X is 4. We both lose everything, except they lose more than we do. If you have 4 permanents, and Karn has 4 permanents, Karn has more permanents than you. Alright. Then we just beat them to death with a Trinisphere. Seems fair. They have no cards in hand. And they're a long way off casting any artifact destruction. Which is kind of how we like it to be. Okay, opponent dredges. So they're hoping to get a big board out of the dredge, and we took all of our Grave Hate out of the sideboard and put it in the main deck, which I guess, in hindsight, was not super great. But I think our only recourse at this moment is to just beat them with the Trinisphere before they dredge a whole bunch of permanents out of the grave. We can actually wish for a Mindstorm Crown if they get to that point. It does not look like they dredged. We draw, and they concede. They do not believe they can win. But this is the kind of thing we are trying to accomplish. They had a Creeping Chill and a Stinkweed Imp in hand. Alright, so I think the key here is going to be leaving Nile Spellbomb in the side. And versus... We do have a couple things we can bring in versus aggro decks in specific. And I think we can kind of trade it out for a Fountain of Renewal. Keep in mind, this is all experimental. These are not optimum choices. There are going to be edits made to this deck. And so I was just throwing in things I knew I had that potentially might be useful, see how they played, and in general just brew a little bit. And so far, this deck plays a game that I am very much a fan of. Okay, so we got a lot of Signet Ramp, but nothing to abuse our Surge Node, and we're holding 3 Death Clouds. This is basically a mulligan to 3, so let's mulligan to 6 instead. Okay, this is far and away better. My goodness, is this far and away better. So we are going to keep. We're going to put back a Baron Moor. Alright, opponent gets to go first. They start Arid Mesa. They did mulligan to 5. We draw Tormod's Crypt. So we're going to play a Surge Node. Play Tormod's Crypt. Pass the turn. We got the big ramp. I think this is probably one of the most underutilized mana engines in like all of Modern, but frequently if you're trying to do something like big mana-y, why wouldn't you play the Tron lands? Because they're super consistent. The only reason that I'm doing this mana strategy over the Tron lands is basically because we have heavy black costs, and Astral Cornucopia can kind of help offset that. And if we don't, we have all black lands. Okay, opponent dredges a Creeping Chill. Plays a Bloodstained Mire. Cracks a Bloodstained Mire. Gets a Blood Crypt down to 17. And they're going to loam. We're going to stop them from getting lands. I think that's our best way to slow them down at the moment. We draw another Core Tapper. So this is going to be pretty sweet, I think. So we play Snow-Covered Swamp. Cast Astral Cornucopia. Play Core Tapper. Sack onto Astral Cornucopia. Play Everflowing Chalice, kicked once. Surge Node onto Everflowing Chalice. Turn 2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. It's like we're playing Tron, and we could have had even more. Now we just need to draw Karn. And, yeah, Karn and Death Cloud. Let's do it. Okay, opponent Cathartic Reunion. And they get another Narcomoeba. Doesn't look like any prized amalgams as of yet. Okay, we draw. Golgari Signet. Well, this is kind of what we're a little bit afraid of. Golgari Signet for a Core Tapper. Surge Node onto Astral Cornucopia. This is one deck that I think might be able to play tutors quite effectively. The issue is the only tutors that would be worth running are Mastermind's Acquisition and like Beseech the Queen, I would think. Okay, opponent is getting back the Ox. Okay. Opponent discard. Oh, goodness. Opponent could dredge their whole deck here. Just about, anyway. Alright, so we get Creeping Chill. Too bad we don't have a grind clock, right? That used to be how I would win with charge counter decks when I would build them. Oh gosh, we're dead. They don't have any more Conflagrates, but they do have a Shenanigans. So see, if we were running Relic, and out here would be to play and crack Relic and draw Ensnaring Bridge, which is admittedly a pretty low potential. But one thing that we might do is green seems like the color to splash. So we're going to block here. Charge counters on Astral Cornucopia. But now we can't Death Cloud because our life total is too low. But we could at least go out on our terms if we draw it. When it gets back their prized amalgams. So if we were running green out of the side, or green for a splash, we'd probably splash for like, oh, what do you call it? The why can't I think of this? Ancient Stirrings. Good lord. We'd probably be playing Ancient Stirrings. So play Karn. We will use his ability. Nothing works at the moment because we took our Ensnaring Bridge out of the side. However, we did learn some things. We learned some very valuable insight. Alright, so we're going to go back to our collection. We're going to make some edits. Edit number 1. We definitely want at least a Relic of Progenitus, and we probably want it over a Fountain of Renewal. Alright, let's cut some of the jank fun-ofs here. I don't think we really need Energy Chamber. We're going to cut the Dimir Signets. We're going to go to the 4th Golgari Signet. Let's see, probably... I don't know about Raven's Crime. I don't know how good it is or how good it isn't. But we want Overgrown Tomb, I think. And we want, like, Llanowar Waste. I think I have Llanowar Wastes. I do not. Let me look up the price of that real quick, see if I can get a hold of it. Wow, they're cheap as dirt. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and get them off some bots. Alright, so we're cutting the Raven's Crimes for some Ancient Stirrings. I definitely want 4. We're going to need to find a little bit of space in this deck. Oh, probably don't need 23 lands, considering I was only running 20. And this leaves room for... Do I have a 4th Ensnaring Bridge? No, I only have 3. So this leaves room for the 4th Karn, which is definitely where we want to be. Okay, I have a feeling that this version of the deck is going to be a lot better. Nothing else comes to mind sideboard-wise at the moment. I think we're going to be okay there, at least for testing purposes. So, let's jump into another 2-man, shall we? Getting a double feature today, a little Kano brew action double feature. This is quite a bit of lands for an Ensnaring Bridge hand. I think we're going to mulligan and hope for something a little more explosive. Alright, I think this will work. We'll keep. We're going to put back a Signet. Okay, opponent starts Inquisition. Looking at our hand, they're slightly confused. This is not a meta deck, they say. Alright, they take Ancient Stirrings. We draw Ensnaring Bridge. So we start Snow Swamp and Inquisition them. So they are traditional Jund, because they have Bloodbraid Elf. They play a Raging Ravine. We draw Overgrown Tomb. So play Llanowar Wastes. Play Golgari Signet. Pass the turn. Alright, we draw Astral Cornucopia. So we play... Do we play it with mana? I think we do. So we shock Overgrown Tomb. We cast an Astral Cornucopia. X1. Oh, shoot, never mind. Well, Core Tapper can fog for a turn, so play Core Tapper. Pass the turn. Now all we have to do is draw Death Cloud and we win. Opponent plays a Stomping Ground. Here comes Bloodbraid. They cascade into Liliana of the Veil. That is actually terrible news. I should have prioritized casting the Ensnaring Bridge. They could downtick. That'd be funny. Nope. They make us discard. So we discard our Ensnaring Bridge. Also, Death Cloud leaves them with a Liliana of the Veil. So, block here. 2 charge counters on Astral Cornucopia. Okay. We draw another Astral Cornucopia. We're going to cast it X2. Divide up our mana. I really need that Death Cloud right about now. Opponent probably does not know what we're doing. They probably think we are a weird Dice Factory deck. Yep. Well, with an active Wrenn and 6, our plan is much, much worse. So we go down to 4. We'll see what we draw. Opponent picks up a land. And we draw land, so we scoop it up. We should probably have Nurturing Peatlands in this deck. Because just think, if we had an excess of mana... No, that wouldn't work. Never mind. I was like, we could sack it, and then... Do we want to change up our main deck at all? We could bring in, like, Pithing Needle. You know what? I think we're set up as good as we could be. I think we just need to draw things. And our opponent Inquisitioned, or thought seized our only Ancient Stirrings that game, which would have gotten us a lot further into our deck. We cannot play this hand. We're going to mulligan. Alright, you know what? This is, this seems doable. We'll keep. We're going to put back Rot Farm. So we start Overgrown Tomb, Ancient Stirrings. We find an Everflowing Chalice, put the rest on the bottom. I'm going to cast Everflowing Chalice because if we get Inquisitioned, we still have a way to put charge counters on it. But if they took Everflowing Chalice, we would be in trouble. We might want a way to shuffle our deck if we're running Ancient Stirrings, because I think we just dumped a whole bunch of Death Clouds to the bottom. Death Clouds and Hand Hate. So we get Inquisitioned. As predicted. We draw Golgari Signet. So play Karn's Bastion, play Surge Node, Put a counter on Everflowing Chalice. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a mountain into a Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. Each opponent discards a card, and each opponent who didn't discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life. So we'll discard Golgari's Signet, because we don't need it. We draw Karn, Great Creator. Good timing. Play Karn. Wish with Karn. We're going to pick up... probably a Trinosphere. Pass the turn. Hopefully our opponent does not have a Bolt. I believe that's the only way that they would be able to handle Karn at this moment. Okay, opponent plays a Nurturing Peatland. They could play Liliana, but Liliana really wouldn't be a threat. They did have the Lightning Bolt. That is very disheartening. They cycle a Baron more, and we untap and draw Thoughtseize. Well, let's Thoughtseize our opponent. Liliana, Kolagon's Command, Bloodbraid Elf. Take Kolagon's Command. Put a charge counter on Everflowing Chalice. Play Trinosphere. Pass the turn. So now Liliana will not be getting them any value for a long, long time. And if they Bloodbraid Elf, they can't cast things for free off Cascade. Did my opponent just draw Kolagon's Command? Okay. It's good to say there. Opponent pluses, we discard nothing. They discard their other Liliana. We untap, we draw Metalwork Colossus. How far off are we from casting this? 7? Dang. Yeah, we only have 5. Alright, well, pass the turn. We're probably just going to activate Karn's Bastion this turn. If our Karn had stuck around, we'd be, like, unbeatable. But our opponent does have a lot of direct damage, unfortunately. Yeah, opponent makes us discard. Luckily, Metalwork Colossus can actually recur himself, which is nice. Opponent discards Bloodbraid. Okay, we're going to Surge Node onto Everflowing Chalice. Activate Karn's Bastion. Tick up here and here. Untap. Draw Surge Node. Play Surge Node. Oh, it costs 3. Duh. Play Surge Node. Surge onto Everflowing Chalice. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent makes each player discard. I think we need a Karn to get out of this. Or Deathcloud. Deathcloud would kind of be funny. If we Deathclouded all of our lands away, their options would be, like, you can have mana or you can have your Trinosphere. Oh, that's really sad, actually. Okay, well, we're going to sack those two to get back Metalwork Colossus to our hand. Because then we have 2 cards in our hand for Liliana upticking, potentially. Okay, we draw a Core Tapper. We're gonna play Core Tapper for 3, because I keep forgetting I too am affected by my Trinisphere. So opponent could ult Liliana, but I don't think there's many good splits they could make. Alright, they're going for it. Land, land, land. Alright, well, I guess we have to keep the lands. It'll be really annoying if our opponent has their 3rd Liliana here. Good news for us, they don't. Play an Overgrown Tomb, tapped, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. So they didn't draw anything they could play. We'll play Karn's Bastion. That's a problem. Opponent gets a rented 6. They pick up Wooded Foothills, and now they're not choked on mana at all. Okay, we untap, we draw Inquisition. Inquisition our opponent. Thoughtseize and Assassin's Trophy. That questing beast is going to be a problem. Okay, they get a Blood Crypt tapped. And I think it's beast time. Oh, Croxa. Alright. Well, I guess that technically speeds up their clock. Because Beast has haste. They pick up a land and replay it. So if we drew Ensnaring Bridge, we might be able to survive for a little bit. But our opponent has had us for quite some time, I feel. The good news is we're playing a deck that does powerful things, and while it may not be top tier, and it's definitely experimental, at the very least, this is turn 11. Like, we slowed down the game enough to play a real game of Magic. Like, this wasn't a, oh, you're dying to Death Shadow in 1 turn, or anything like that. Like, we got real game versus some top decks, I think. So I'm excited to experiment with this one a little bit more. Yep, that's lethal. Well, hey, I hope you enjoyed this content. I really enjoyed making it. And I'll leave the list up while I'm talking here for a second. For people to be able to see it. I really I really like Death Cloud. I like Smallpox. Heck, I like Undercity Plague. Anything that has that discard, lose life, sack a creature, sack a land term on it is just fantastic. There is an alternative route that you can go that isn't Death Cloud. You can, in fact, run green, or not green, you can run red and play wildfire effects as well. And wildfire effects, I mean, they don't make you lose life and they don't make your opponent lose life. They just deal the damage to the board and make your opponent and you sack lands. And I was considering building a wildfire deck at first, but there are a lot of creatures in the metagame that do not die to wildfire, or whatever the 7-mana one is, which I think is like Destructive Force or something like that. And so I wanted to actually make us and our opponent sack. There are probably some more tech choices I'm leaving out in this deck, but this is going to take some tweaks. I'm going to definitely outsource it to my Discord. Hint, if you're not in it yet, you should totally join my Discord because we do a lot of brewing. There's some cool people there. Would highly recommend it. As always, if you like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. Anything you can do to let me know that you enjoyed this. Spent a lot of time on the meme edit at the beginning of this video. Want to get back more into doing that. Thanks again to Bone Daddy. You can also catch me on Twitch. Same username there as here. So I hope to see you guys there when I go live. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!